This is the Fredericksburg Neighbors Podcast, the place where local businesses and neighbors come together. Here's your host, Dory Stewart.
Welcome back to another episode of the FXBG Neighbors Podcast, where we share the stories of our favorite local brands. I'm excited to introduce you to my guest today. We've got Ramilyn Thompson joining us. She is the owner of Black Lace Studios. Ramilyn, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
I am really excited for this. I want to learn more about you. I want to learn all about your business. So let's start there. Share with us, what is Black Lace Studios?
So Black Lace Studios is a luxury boudoir experience. We cater to women. It is traditionally, most people know boudoir as like lingerie portraits or something to give as a gift. But my goal is always to kind of create an experience where women can come in and it's completely guided. So we help women cater their session to their specific needs or desire or choice of like storytelling. So some women come in with a need for rediscovering themselves. And so we help them figure out what does that look like for each individual client. Some women come in as the celebration aspect, so we help them through, like, let's say bridal. So we help them figure out bridal lingerie or accessorize. It's a full day experience. So women come in and they get hair and makeup done. We help them with outfits. I guide them through posing, so they don't need to know how to pose or anything like that. Most of my clients come in nervous, so our goal is to have fun. I'm generally pretty goofy, and so that kind of helps, and awkward too. So I feel like in general, most of my clients feel awkward. So like together we're being awkward, we're laughing. And then they end the day with seeing their photos, which is probably one of the best parts because instant gratification. Thank you, Amazon, for that one, where we all want to have those instant, results. So it's not just like a day where we just take photos. There's more to it than that. And that is essentially the exciting part about what I do and what my business kind of represents. For each individual, it's kind of vastly different, but the overall experience is about, rediscovering yourself, having fun, and having images that document that moment in your life, whether that's a season, a celebration. And that part of it, I think, is super important, that you're walking away with something that actually documents that you can take that's tangible.
Mm-hmm. Amazing. I love that you describe it as a luxury experience. It's not just coming in and getting some photos done. It's a full experience. So I want to learn more about how you came up with this and your background. What led you to opening Black Lace Studios?
I went through a very challenging time about, I don't know how many years ago, because I can't do the math in my head, but 2012, we'll go with that. Mm-hmm. And during that time, I had already been doing photography, but I discovered boudoir to kind of keep the story short. I did a boudoir session, and I was, in that time of my life, I was in a relationship that wasn't ideal. So it really changed how I saw myself and how I looked at the world. And by doing the session, it gave me an opportunity to pause and see myself through this perspective that I had never seen. I had never wore lingerie or heels in lingerie. Like, I grew up in a very conservative, household where like that is so taboo. We don't do those things. So it was very much outside of my norm, and it was very freeing. It was just very liberating to actually do something that felt daring and felt kind of taboo, but at the same time, the results were just so powerful. I'd never seen myself in that way. And I knew with everything that I was going through in that time, that there has to be other women that are going through similar experiences that are also feeling shame because they don't want to talk about it. But what if they had an experience that gave them the opportunity to kind of like release a lot of that very negative thoughts of themselves, or just celebration too can also be, because boudoir doesn't necessarily have to be about a healing portion of it. There's celebration in it as well. And so I started the mission of like, how can I help more women feel this good about themselves through photos? And that's kind of how the business kind of formed. At that time, I was only doing it as a hobby rather than like a full-time business. And I have taken the business full-time almost 10 years ago. So it's been an interesting journey through that process, but my business has been the anchor for many of my things in life. And I know for a lot of my clients, their experience has also anchored them realizing, like, hey, I am worthy. And these images are proving to me that, like, I'm beautiful, I'm strong, I'm brave. And yes, it is, sometimes more sultry or more seductive for some women, but some women, it's just more about just feeling seen and heard and actually seeing an image of themselves that really resonates with their story or where they are in that moment. And it can be just something simple as like looking out the window and they're smiling or laughing. It doesn't have to always be lingerie or something along those lines. Sometimes it's just a beautiful ball gown and they're just running through a field. So that's the beauty and why I love what I do and why it's actually evolved over the years. It really did start more lingerie and kind of progress from there. Definitely like pinup style and then lingerie. And then now it's like more ethereal to some extent, but still my core love is obviously doing the things within the studio because I love my studio. So it's it's been a journey. It's been one that's very emotional and very personal. And I've talked a lot about this with my clients, and I've also blogged about it. But I've never actually done it on a podcast. I'm gonna try really hard not to get into that because I know emotionally, like it is a very personal story and it's very emotional, but it gives me the ability to connect with a lot of women because I've been through a lot of different things in my life, very traumatic experiences that have shaped me, that have brought me to where I am so that I can help other women heal and find that peace within themselves. So in realistic terms, it started as like, I'm going to help other women. And then it was like, oh, let's just have fun. And now it's kind of revisiting back to like where that home piece is that, reconnection portion.
I love this so much. I love that you are sharing your story with other women because so many women can relate. And on, the outside looking in, you're taking beautiful photographs, but what you're doing for women on the inside is so important. And just congratulations on, I can feel how your love for this. And so, congratulations on finding this for yourself, but then also what all the good that you're doing in the community for all of these women is just so powerful. I love it so much.
I do too. It's really hard to put into words, but I feel it so deeply. So sometimes I'll like just cry instead of like be able to articulate it. But it is a beautiful thing, and it's truly. I'm very grateful to be able to be in this community and help other women. It's just it really truly is a blessing to be able to do this.
Mm-hmm. And congratulations on 10 years in business. That is a really big milestone. And to have that longevity takes a lot of work and determination. So, if there are women listening who are inspired by that as well, what advice would you give someone who is maybe a little nervous about starting that business?
My biggest advice is be authentic because it's really hard right now in this world, especially with like AI and all of the different things. When you are true to yourself and your story and you focus on that aspect of what your goals are, you're going to align with the clients that truly value that side of you rather than trying to fit in this box or copy everyone or do exactly what someone else is doing, because you lose a part of yourself when you focus more on what everyone else is doing. And that doesn't mean that I have never done that, because of course, when I first started my business, I was like, oh, well, how can I be successful like this person? So let me do this, let me do that. And I learned years later that that wasn't who I was. I became someone I wasn't, or going in the direction I didn't want. And when I decided to go the direction I wanted, my business boomed because it felt right. And I was connecting with other women who resonated with that authentic self. but also learn to evolve. I think that's the scary part about even starting a business or even being in a business for even any amount of time. The world changes, life changes, economics change, your visions change, your dreams change, but learning to evolve and be okay with that change and see that positive aspect is also super important. And I'm giving myself my own advice because I'm in that phase where my life is evolving and my business is too. So I think it's super important to remember that it's okay to go with the ride and just see where life takes you, but continue to be authentic and be yourself. That's what's most important.
That's really good advice. And you are such a great role model for that because I can tell just in the way that you're speaking that you are authentic to yourself. And it's so easy to compare yourself to others. So putting those blinders on and doing your own thing and is that's just really good advice. Thank you for that.
Yeah,
I love
it's
it.
hard, but
Hmm.
in the long run of it, I've learned that sometimes being oblivious to what everyone else is doing has paid off really well. So I'm in my own world most of the time. My kids always laugh and say, like, "Mom, you're doing like old lady stuff," and I'm like, "No, I'm doing things that make me happy. Like, I'm just myself." And I think,
Hmm.
you know, it was much harder when I was younger to embrace that portion, but now that I'm like 36 years old, I'm like, well, why not? I mean, I've loved these
Yeah.
things for all these years. Why can't I enjoy them and also be proud that I'm doing them, you know?
Hmm.
So that's yeah, it's really important to just be true to yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. And you have a family, and I imagine when you're not busy working on your business, you've got a lot of other things going on. So tell me, what do you do for fun when you're not running your business?
It's really hard as a mom of four. My kids are like all about 5 years apart. So my oldest is 16 and my youngest is one. So I definitely had a
Wow.
very interesting life as far as how my life started. But what I enjoy doing and what I have found to be very relaxing and super fun is reading books. I used to not read as much, and I used to tell myself I couldn't read when I was younger, so then I didn't pick up books. And
Oh, wow.
so years later, I picked up Harry Potter, and I was like, "Oh, let me read this," because I told myself I couldn't read it. So it really re-blossomed this desire to read more books and just find, this passion within reading books. That does sound a little boring, but outside of reading books, I also love to travel. I don't get to do it as much, but I love the aspect of being able to be in a new place and finding inspiration with what I see, like whether it's nature, architecture, cute little shops, especially like bookshops or coffee shops. They just feel very nostalgic to me, and I feel like I want to be able to be in that moment and capture that moment. But a lot of times it's just me and there's no other camera. But it does create this inspiration within me, and it actually feels very freeing. So, reading books, travel. I'm kind of dorky. I do play The Sims. I've been playing that for over 20 years. So a lot of people are like, "What? You're like 36 years old." I'm like, "Listen, sometimes you just need to unwind." So, the things that I'm able to do are, here and there, but I think my favorite thing is being able to see the world and have appreciation for everything that I have, but also it's so big. There's so much to see, and as an artist, the most simplest thing can bring so much joy to me, and
Mhm.
I love that. It helps me go through whatever healing that I need in that moment. Sometimes life is chaotic with four kids and a husband and dogs and running a business. Sometimes I just need that escape, and sometimes it's just like a really pretty sunset or a walk down a cobblestone street, and you're just like, oh, this is so enchanting. As you
Mhm.
almost trip in your heels because you didn't really plan accordingly, but it's I try to find little things in my life that are, good for me, but also enjoyable. And they're far few in between, but it's part of learning to adapt and go through life. So,
I love that. It's such a great lesson when life is so chaotic and you've got a million things going on to stop and take in the moment and recognize the beauty that's around you. I love it. I love it. So, what is something that you wish the listeners knew about Black Lace Studios?
well, There's a lot. But one of the biggest takeaways that I find that this conversation comes up very often, especially when people don't know what boudoir is. What I've always envisioned for boudoir is not necessarily like the typical standard boudoir. I love the storytelling aspect that really dives into creating movement and things that really speak to each client. I have done things that are not like traditional boudoir, and I actually find that to be more exciting because it really is true to each client. So if someone is looking for an experience that isn't just lingerie, let's say they don't really want to wear lingerie, that's totally fine. You don't have to wear lingerie to be sexy or beautiful. That is such a 10 years ago, that was so like inbred in our industry, as like, you have to wear lingerie, you have to do this to feel empowered and beautiful and strong. And I really don't like that anymore, because what empowers me isn't lingerie. Actually, I want to run the field with a pretty dress and just feel like I'm in this storybook. And a lot of women really do resonate with that, especially with the more books that women are getting into reading and maybe movies. But sometimes we just want to like escape reality for just a little bit so that we can feel like we are this new character. And kind of the business has evolved to, continue to do boudoir because I love that. That's still like where my heart is. But I love the aspect that I get to meet my clients where they want to be. Maybe they want to just feel pretty and a pretty like a ball gown or a white shirt. Maybe it's just jeans and a tank top because that's what makes them feel empowered or beautiful. And I love that because it's not standard. Like, my sessions are not standard. Of course, if you're wanting to do traditional, of course, there's like the standard aspect, but it's not really the same. The poses might be the same for every body type, but it's going to come across differently because it's telling your story. It's, showing where you are in that moment, and I think that's what's most important to remember, is that you don't want to look like everyone else. You want your experience to actually represent you. And what is that for you? It's like finding that out. And that's what I help my clients figure out, because no one really comes to the table with like, okay, this is what I want. This is what I want to do. It's part of the process. Is I work with my clients one-on-one to help them establish what that vision is. And even let's say they arrive with like still no idea, and that does happen a lot. I still help them through that process during the day. So they're pretty much prepared when they come in, even though they probably don't feel that way. Just like with this call, I didn't feel very prepared. Even though I know deep down I was. It's guiding them through it, and it's giving them the place to feel safe to receive, rather than feel like they have to be in a giving mindset. So they get to receive, this pampering experience, but also get to receive images that are true and authentic to them and where they are in that world and that life or whatever experience that they're going through.
Amazing. I love it. You have put so much care into the experience. I just love it so much. Congratulations on all your success. If the listeners want to connect with you, if they want to learn more from you, where can they find you?
The best place is to fill out a contact form on our website or email us. And myself or my assistant will reach out to you. We'll schedule a consultation where we get to chat, make sure that we're a good fit. I feel like building a trusting relationship right off the bat is super important, especially in this, type of, work that we do. And we want to make sure that like our visions align and that you feel comfortable working with me and my team. It's an all-female staff team, so it's really knowing you're working with other other moms. So yeah, reach out through either of those forms. Instagram is also a great place, and we'll help you from there. So
amazing. Ramilyn, thank you so much for joining me on the podcast today and sharing Black Lace Studios with us.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for listening to the Fredericksburg Neighbors Podcast. To nominate your favorite local businesses to be featured on the show, go to fxbgneighborspodcast.com.